I'll just recap the beginning of Parshas Vayechi. Yaakov asked Yosef to bury him in Mitzrayim. And Yosef said, okay, Anochi asechet varecha, I'll do like your word. But that wasn't enough. Yaakov said, I need you to swear to me that you'll take me up to Eretz Yisrael to bury me there. He says, Hishavali, by Hishavali, he swore to him. And it's interesting that even in the end, what happened when Yaakov actually died, it says in the pasuk that he asked Paro, can I have permission to take my father up to bury him in the Maros HaMachpelah? And Paro said, Cain, I'll let you go up, kasher hishbieka, like you swore. Which means that the reason he let him go was only because he swore to his father to that effect. But if he would not have sworn to his father, then Paro would not have let him gone. Rashi says, look at Rashi, second column, third line from the bottom, kasher hishbieka, vim loy b'shvil hashvua, lahiyisi min manichecha. I would not have let you take him if not for that fact that you swore. Only because you swore do I let you go. Why? What's the idea there? What does that mean? Only because he swore. So the Gemara says, let's get the Gemara. I'll show you the Gemara in Saita. So the Gemara says in Daf Saita, Daf Lamed Vav Amid Beis, that when Yosef requested to take up his body to Eretz Yisrael, so Paro said to him, well, only because you swore. What is the meaning of that? So here's the Gemara. The Gemara goes into this, the whole idea that there was one, let's start from the beginning. When Paro made Yosef the king, he said, Biladecha la yarim reishas yadei. No one will be able to lift up their hand without you. So the astrologers said to Paro, they said, a servant whose master just bought him for 20 silver coins, he's going to be a ruler over us? So Paro said to them, I see he's very, he's fitting his royal characteristics. He's very strong and he's wise. So they said, Amrulai, but how could he be a king? This was what the Sar HaMashkin said, the one who poured the drinks, right? He said, but he's like a servant, and he said, but he has to know the 70 languages. So how could he be a viceroy in Egypt? The rule is, in the rule books, in the law is that you have to know 70 languages. That's what the Marshal said. That was one of the things. So Paro said, okay, I'm going to test him. That night, I'm going to test him the next day. That night, Gabriel came, and Gabriel taught him all 70 languages. So, and it said it was hard for Yosef to learn all 70 languages. So Hashem added one more letter to Yosef's name and made it Bihosef. We say on Thursday, tomorrow morning, in the Yom, we say Eidus Bihosef Samo. He added one more letter to his name when he left Mitzrayim. So that's the one more letter, and then he knew all the 70 languages. And then every language that Paro tested him in, he responded. But Yosef started talking to him in one language Paro did not understand. And what was that?
Lashon HaKodesh, I guess.
Lashon HaKodesh, right. This is not one of the 70 languages. Interestingly enough, the Lashon HaKodesh is not one of the 70. Just like we find that there are 70 nations in the world, so there are 70 languages. That excludes the Jews. Just like we find on Sukkot that they bring 70 karbanos, which correspond to all 70 nations. So that's what they bring down. So what happened is, so he said to Paro, Mashlomcha. So Paro didn't know what he's talking about. So Paro said, I want you to swear to me. First Yosef started to teach Paro. Tried to teach Paro Lashon HaKodesh, but Paro wasn't able to understand it. So Paro said to him, swear to me, you heard this? Swear to me that you'll never tell anyone that I don't know all 70 languages. So what happened? So Yosef made a shvua. I swear I'll never tell anyone that you don't know the 71st language. Because it would be embarrassing for Paro. So now, in this week's Parsha, Yosef comes to Paro and says, can I take my father up to bury him? And he didn't just ask me a request. Hishbiani leimar. That's what Pasuk Hay says. Pasuk Hay says, my father made me swear that I'm going to bring him up. So on that, so therefore can I take him up? So on that Paro said, well, okay, you have a shvua. He swore. He made you swear.
But it's because of his oath that he made to Paro earlier?
Oh, because Paro really said, so what, you made a shvua. Go to the sages and you could release yourself from the vow. There's something called, you could ask the sages and they could release you from your vow. So he said to Paro, okay, then I will also ask them that they should release me from the vow that I swore to you that I won't tell anyone about Lashon HaKodesh, that you don't know that language. So Paro said, okay, you got me. You're right. I'm not happy that you're going, but the words of the Pasuk are, that's why the Pasuk says in Pasuk Vav, Ale, go up, Ukavaris Meisech Asavicha, and bury your father, Kasher Hishbiyeka, like you swore. Only because you swore. If you wouldn't have sworn, I would have told you no. But now that you swore, you have me in a bind, because or else you're gonna, if you'll ask on this shvua, then you'll ask on the other shvua, and then it will be revealed about me. So therefore, he said you could go up and bury him. So the question that the Stipler asks on this medrash, everyone knows this. This is the famous medrash. You know, the kids learn this. That's how he got Paro to agree. But it has to be understood a little deeper. Does that mean that, does it mean like the way it sounds, that Paro told Yosef, go ask, get a heter, that you should be released from the shua, and Yosef said, okay, I'll get a heter from that. Is that a way to talk to the king? Did he really? He spoke like that to Paro, and he threatened Paro. How could he speak like that to Paro? And give him, that's blackmail. How could he threaten a king like that?
Right.
So the Stipler says that really Yosef didn't mean to say that. He didn't say that, he didn't mean to say, I'm going to go tell everyone, I'm going to go get a heter, and I'm going to tell everyone that you don't know Lashon HaKodesh. You can't say such a thing to a king. But what he wants to say is the following. He meant to say a little bit deeper. He said, what's the idea of a shvua? What's the idea of an oath? An oath means it's like a special guard which puts me on guard. All of a sudden, I'm very careful. If you make a shvua, people, they're scared even to say the word I promise, because I promise could be a shvua. So, but once you say you promise, you're on guard. You know that you have to keep your word very, very, very much, very careful on that. And this makes you that your heart is on guard. It's not only just your instinct, but now you're even inside. Your heart is on guard that you shouldn't break the oath. So this is the idea. It's like a guard to keep a person that he should only say the ultimate truth. It's like a guard. You have to keep your word all the way. Now, he says, once, let's say someone will break his word, or if he break his promise, let's say he goes to a chacham, let's say you go to the wise man and you tell him it was a mistake, I didn't realize what it meant, and I want to ask to annul my vow, to get a heter. So, and the chacham will say, you're right, I hear what you said. You didn't realize what you were saying when you made that oath. So even if the Chacham says you're allowed to break it, will annul the vow. But in the end of the day, the vow becomes very weak in his eyes. The power of his word loses all of its, all of its integrity, all of its, he's not so strong anymore. The power of the word, because here he made a shvuah and he's not keeping his shvuah. Because the Gemara says, in Yuma, the Gemara says, if a person doesn't have error once, so okay, he doesn't have Avera, that's he shouldn't do an Avera one time is one time. But if he repeats the Avera, it becomes like it's mutter. Gemara says, Naseh keheter. Becomes like a heter. So Gemara says, not that you're allowed to do an Avera. Once you do it twice, it doesn't mean you're allowed to do it a third time, but it becomes like he doesn't even think that it's wrong anymore.
To say the third time he thinks it's a mitzvah almost.
Oh, right. The third time they say it's a mitzvah, or the third time they say it's a shita. This is what I stand for. This is it's my motto. So once you do, because what's the idea? The idea is because you do an avera once, chas v'shalom, okay, it's bad. The first time he did it, it was bad. The second time it was bad. But once he does it twice already, he lost the guard. He lost the sensitivity of, I could never do such a thing, right? It was beyond me, right? That's why you have to be careful, even in an environment, even what you see things, you think, well, now it's possible. You lose a little bit of the guard.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the idea, that nasa keheter, you think it's mutter. You did it already twice. So he says, so too, that's the same thing with a shvuah. If you break a shvuah, okay, I broke a shvuah, so I won't keep my word the next time. It loses the stringency and how holy it is. It loses its holiness, and how careful you have to be about it. So therefore he says that's what Yosef told Paro. Yosef said to Paro said, so go to break your shvuah. You could break your shvuah. You could ask a chacham to be mater your neder. So Yosef said, you're right, I could, but I'm scared that I'm going to lose the sensitivity of how chomer it is, how stringent it is to break an oath. For sure, if you break an oath flat out, then you for sure lose the stringency. But even if you go to a chacham, you lose the stringency. And I'm scared that I might slip, and then once I break one oath, I might just either go to a chacham or take away that oath, take away the other oath that I said to you. So therefore, he told Paro, for your good, make sure that I don't break this first oath that I said to my father to bring him up to Mitzrayim, because I might end up slipping, just a slip, because I'll lose my sensitivity to the power of your word.
Can you just review for a second how that other part of the midrash that you said about the 70 languages, and like I kind of lost that already.
No, so the Gemara says that we know that Yaakov made Yosef swear. Yosef swore.
All right.
Came when Yosef became the king.
The people were upset because how could you make somebody of this stature a second in command?
Right. So they said, first of all, is he a slave? The Taramashkim said he's a slave and he's a low person. When some low down Jew, he's a Ivri, right. He's a slave. He for sure. And Rashi says he meant to say that he can't be a king. He's because a slave.
Right. Okay.
But one of the next thing that they said is that you also have to know the 70 languages to become the king of Egypt, or vice versa.
Or second. Okay.
So therefore, the people said, "How could you make him second?"
He can't speak these languages. Okay.
Right.
Okay, now I get it.
So Paro said, "Tomorrow I'm going to test him."
Right. And
Gabriel came, taught him all 70. He added a one letter of his name, so he would have the koach to understand. 70 languages.
Okay.
It's already super from Hashem.
I just lost track, but now it's making sense.
So that's what he meant to say. Zil, when Paro said, "Go ask your sages to release you from your oath that you don't have to go bury your father in Egypt, in Israel." So Yosef said, "V'ichli nami adidach." Then so the simple way of learning it is, then I'm going to ask that they petition that they should release me from the oath that I said I'm not going to tell anyone that you don't speak Hebrew.
Right. Okay.
So it sounds like he was threatening him back.
Right.
On that, the disciple says, it can't be. He wouldn't say that to a king, to his face. So the disciple says, no, he meant to say, if I do that, I might lose the sensitivity to the stringency of how strong it is to keep your word. It will be light by me. Nasa keheter. So therefore, if you make me do that, I might come out just saying, well, I could also ask on another shua if I feel the urge. Let's say one day I'll have an urge. I'll feel something that you'll do something to me, and I'll feel very, very angry at you. So I'll just feel the urge to go ask my sages for annul the vow, because it's not so strong. You could just annul it. You could ask the sages. You could even break it. Maybe I'll just break it. So therefore, Paro said, "Yeah, okay, you're right. You're right. I don't want you to lose the power of your words. You should feel it." So therefore, he says, "Kasherish bieka," because you swore. That's why I'm going to let you go. Because you swore to your father, I have to let you keep your shvuah, because I don't want you to lose your power of how you feel.
To affect my oath with you.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
And Paro understood that. And therefore he said, I'm letting you go. That's what I'm letting you go up to Israel, to Eretz Israel, to bury him. For that exact reason. That's his pshat. Because his oath is a fence. It's a fence, but you don't want to break the fence. Once you break the fence once your baby learns how to climb out of the crib, a baby might be scared to climb out of the crib. That's a big jump, to volute over the side of the crib. So you don't want the baby. Once the baby does it once, that's it. It's finished. The baby can do it 100 times, right? That's why I don't go near my baby when it's like he's testing his foot over the side of the crib. He wants me to. I'll give him a hand. I'll hold him. No, once he does it once, even with me holding him, then he'll go over 20 times because he knows he can do it. He'll feel confident. So too here. Before you break it once, it has the beautiful holiness of the word. So therefore, that's a good idea to keep in mind. It's a very big lesson a person has to realize in all parts of life.
I'll try and bring this over at the Shabbos table. It's nice. Very nice.
So it's applicable in all parts of life. In keeping your word, a person has to watch their word, and you won't realize it. That's why you have to be careful to keep your word, even in a place where it's not. Maybe in this particular case, there's no one who's going to be looking. Maybe it's not a word to your friend. Maybe it's a word to yourself. But if you break a word to yourself, then you lose the power of your word. Maybe you'll break it in another way also, and to someone else, to your friend. So therefore, you have to watch. You have to hold on to the power, right? If we lose the koach if we go against it once.
Mm-hmm.
That's one idea here. It says also in Parshas Vayechi an interesting pasuk. The pasuk says about Ruvain. Yaakov called all the brothers in, and he was going to give them their blessing. So what was the blessing that he gave to Ruvain? Ruvain was the first. So it says, Pachas, right at the beginning of Parashah, Pachas kamayim al toisar. Page 274. 274, and it goes to 276. Right. Look at 276, the top line. Pachas kamayim al toisar, ki olisa mishkevei avicha. Az chilalta yitzui Allah. Yitzui Allah. He said, Pachas kamayim, you were pachas, you were very fast, impetuous. You moved fast like water. So al toisar, because of that, you will not get the extra firstborn portion. Ki alisa mishkevei avicha, because you went and moved your father's bed when you weren't allowed. So therefore, pachas kamayim, you had, Rashi says, look at the Rashi on the second line. Pachas kamayim, ha-pachas v'abahala, you hurried behala with, when a person's like confused and in a state of, it's a bahala, it's not clear, and it's like in a situation where there's a lot of bahala, a lot of confusion, and it's not settled. So miharta laharis kascha, that's when you hurried to show your anger. You felt right? After Rachel died, so then Reuven felt that
Leah should be
Leah should be the primary husband of Yaakov, and Yaakov's bed should be really put into her room and not into the Bilhah's room. So he moved it. He was impetuous. He quickly ran and he moved it and he put it into Leah's tent. So his kas, his anger, made him react impetuously and quickly, and he didn't think it through, and it was like mayim halalu, just like waters that rush down, hamemaharim maher, they flow fast, limerutzasam, on their running. So that's how you acted, quickly, without being able to think about it. So therefore, al toisar, you won't get the extras. What's the extras? The extras are that you'll be the Bechor. So therefore, that's what Rashi explains. He explains.
Does it make sense that he can take away the right of the Bechor like that?
Why? What's your question?
No, okay, like for Esav, he sold it. I mean, maybe there was a witness, maybe there wasn't. I don't know, but
the truth is, it's a big question. How could he? Which means, how could he take away the pasuk in the Torah says they have to make sure that Parshas Kiseitze, it says if one has two wives, and one of the wives he likes more than the other,
right? He's not allowed to take it to the one he loves, he favors.
He's not allowed to take away the Bechorah from the one who he doesn't like and give it to the one, right? It's a halacha. You cannot move away the Bechorah from the right one. That's a big question I did see brought down. Yeah, so I would have to look up to see how they explain that.
There's no commentary on that, eh?
No, they don't ask that question.
You lost your right to national leadership because of the impetuosity.
Yes, he doesn't go into explain the question, but it's a good question. We'll have to work on it. So in any event, what happened? So what happened was he lost it, and he got punished for that. So there's a question here: how are you supposed to act? Right, which means there is a good trait called zrizus. Zrizus means you should move quick. So why was Reuven berated here? What did he was rebuked because he acted fast. So is it right to act fast or is it not right to act fast? Sometimes we find it's good to do zrizus. But here he says it was not good, right? It brings down even that. Right, that's why he got punished. So the Chafetz Chaim said that it's not a contradiction. The answer is they're both true. At first, a person has to act slowly and thought out. He has to weigh the options, weigh the two sides, and see which one is right for him to do. So that's what Reuven told. That's what Yaakov told Reuven. You acted too fast. You didn't think. You have to first think both sides. What is the right thing for you to do? Take in everything into account, and do it patiently. But after you make the decision, then you should carry it out with quickness, with alacrity, zrizus. Then you go fast. So that's what the Chafetz Chaim says. He brings down Reuven. He did step number one without thinking. He didn't think first. He acted fast, but zrizus is only after. Zrizus is only after you already know what you want to do. You know what you want to do, then you quickly go do it. And the Chafetz Chaim brought down that Boaz and Rus, that's what happened with Boaz. Boaz, at the beginning, he was very patient. He was thought out. It said that he knew that Rus had come from Eretz Yisrael. He knew that they were there, but he didn't act fast. He waited. He made a bezdin. They called the Redeemer and they said, "Do you want to marry?"
Right.
And the Redeemer said no. Finally, when the Redeemer said no, then he acted fast, because it says in the verse, it says in Rus that Naomi knew that Boaz would not rest and keep quiet until they would actually get married, that day. And the Gemara says, the Yalkut, the Medrash says, that night, Boaz died. Boaz died that night. But first he was there.
His wedding night?
After the wedding. Yes, after the wedding night. He died. But they had a child. They had a child from that night, and that child, right, from Rus, and that child gave birth to, right, Ben Yishai, right? That's what we say on Shavuos when we read Rus, that we trace it back. That they gave birth. Nami had a baby, and she called him Oved. They had a baby Oved. Oved had a baby Yishai. Yishai had a baby David.
Does it say in Megillat Rus that Boaz died the night of their wedding? Because I think this is the first time I heard it. It's a.
No, all it says in the verse here, it says that everyone was at the gate. They said the words, by the way, of that you should have a bracha. What was their bracha? Their bracha was you should have a wife who should be kerachel uchaleya, like Rachel and Leah. Okay, so then it says, the next pasuk, Boaz took Rus for a wife, right? And Hashem made her pregnant. And then it said that they had a baby. The baby says Nami took the baby and she raised him, and they were called Oved. It actually doesn't speak about Boaz for the rest of the. So that's a Yalkut Shmoni, Yalkut in Rus, Taf Reish Ches. The Yalkut says that. So it comes out that Boaz, he acted with alacrity. He was Bezrizus. At the beginning, he wasn't Bezrizus. He had to make a bezdin. He had to wait. He had to see if the Goel wanted to marry her or not. The minute the Goel said no, that day he married. He didn't wait and say, well, we'll make a chasana, we'll see. Right that day, he married her, and then they had that baby. They had Oved, who had Yishai, who had David. So you see again, only because of his reasons, because he waited. He died that night. So his reasons was imperative. It was very important that he should do that, his reasons. So that's an idea about this reasons that we see. A person has to know, sometimes it's the right time to be Zrizus. Sometimes you have to think it through. You have to be thought out and make a right decision. But once you make the decision, then you have to go fast. That's how the Chafetz Chaim explains the two parts.